Hello, hi viewer, welcome back to my video, my channel again. Sorry, this is a bit lengthy. I think this one, after the break, I will continue to talk about Hainan Free Trade Port. Now, a lot of people, a lot of the views expressed so far is that the Hainan itself, Hainan as an island, uh, the reason why Chinese government wanted to do the free trade port is to steal business away from Singapore to do all these things linked to Singapore. So again, my video, the beginning of my video, I actually show a lot of slide to show that actually Chinese government, they don't have the time or they don't have the intention to do something that is going to be detrimental to all their neighboring countries, including Singapore. They just do something to benefit their own people, to benefit their unique economic requirement. So let's zoom in now on the topic that what is my view after I visited Hainan Island regarding the whether would Hainan Free Trade Port be successfully implemented? Would it be another success story like Shenzhen, like Shanghai? So for this, I think my observation from the trip that I made to Hainan in January are as follow. Now, for this trip, I actually been to Haikou. I went to Wenchang, I went to Wanning, I went to the Shanya. So I actually cover one side of the Hainan Island, not the other side. I also took public buses to view all the industrial park, to view a lot of strategic construction areas such as the port, storage activities, terminals, and all these things. And despite the fact that a lot of the local people are not very positive, which is quite common, you know why? Because free trade zone and free trade port, the activities are more localized in the area. So a lot of commoner in Hainan, they won't feel it. If they don't look at the numbers, they will not feel it. Because a lot of the activities are more or less localized or constrained in a certain compound. So when I go to Shanghai, when I go to Hainan for this trip, um, compared to the last 100, 200 over trips that I've been to China for the last 35 years, I witnessed there's a huge difference in the mentality in the operating environment of Hainan or other part of China, which I've been to also in the last part of last year, 2025. So for this Hainan trip, one of the observation is there is no foreign car used for taxi anymore. So there's totally none. That's number one. So a lot of the local EV Chinese made car are everywhere. I don't see Hyundai car being used as taxi. I don't see a lot of Volkswagen car now. So there's a big difference. Number two, I don't see a lot of internet cafe. Actually, it's almost zero. Why? Because of the 5G implementation in China, it wiped out all these things. And number three, I think is the most scary observation, and which I think this one will make sure will be the key driving force of to make whatever China or Chinese government wanted to do successful. Because I think for all policy to be successful, you do need a group or a group of committed and determined local people who are willing to commit their time and effort to achieve the same kind of economic objective of the leader or the government. Now, when I go to Wenchang, which is a county in Hainan, famous for the Wenchang chicken, I went to a shop that sell EV, electronic mobile scooter vehicle. So I asked the young lady, she was at a counter. She was very friendly and very knowledgeable, but once she sensed that we are not keen buyer, we are just there to take videos or ask for fun, she quickly go back to her counter and sit there. And instead of looking at the handphone, I I I walked past her. I saw that she's studying advanced mathematics, very thick mathematics book, which I think I will fail if I retake my mathematics test again. It's advanced mathematics. And when I go to a place in Wanning, when I go to Wanning, a suburban area, there's a wedding event there. So I saw this young boy teenager riding a EV scooter, and he was wearing a slippers, and he carried a thick book, and I take a closer look, and the title of the book is called Advanced Physics. Advanced Physics. And that boy he doesn't look old. I think he's about less than 15 years old, but that is advanced physics. So I can see the urge for knowledge acquisition among the young people in China, or even in Hainan itself is fantastic. And when I go to Shanya, when you take train to Shanya, in order to go to other interesting places of Shanya, you got to take a circular train. You go in the loop lah. So, and that train is colorful. They have table in the middle for you to eat something, to enjoy the view outside, big window. So we were all amazed, all trying to reach out, maximize our view of all the nice scenery. But the girl sitting next to us, apparently she's a local. I think she's about 18 years old or 17 years old. The whole journey, she has been reading a book and taking notes and doing highlight without even looking at her phone. And the title of the book is called Advanced Engineering. For a lady, she's studying advanced engineering. So among the three teenagers, I observed two ladies, one teenager boy, all are doing advanced mathematics, advanced physics, and advanced engineering. So I think I don't see that when I visit Hainan many years ago, but now I see a lot of these young people, they are focusing on acquisition of knowledge. So with this backbone of huge supply of this skilled labor in the future, or the willingness of the local people willing to devote their time and effort to learn something useful to their country, to China, I think that will ensure that become a good ingredient to ensure the success of the execution of the Chinese government to roll out some plan, like in this case, converting Hainan into the world largest free trade port. Okay, so these are all my observation. And when you talk about converting Hainan to free trade port, a lot of the viewer or a lot of the blogger or some other videos will say that, okay, what Hainan is trying to do is to try to use their location, their seaport, to compete and replace Singapore, because Singapore is sitting at the mouth of the Strait of Malacca, and that's the reason why Singapore can prosper, because of the location, the sea trade, and all these things. Now, actually, let's talk about location, the importance of location in terms of capturing the amount of sea trade or trading activity. Don't talk about sea only. Now, yes, indeed, Singapore started like that, but of course, Singapore have a lot of other reasons. We are good in a lot of areas. So for sea trade by itself is a factor, but it's not the whole thing. So is Chinese government trying to replace Singapore, or no? I don't think so. Now, in order to have aggregation and segregation or dissemination of goods, products, and services, you need two things. Now, location is one. Location is important. But location in this case is only important for sea trade, meaning that the whole area, the shipping area, will only have to bypass certain critical area because of the ocean deployment, the country, the layout. So yes, Singapore is in a very good position to capture a lot of shipping flow through the Strait of Malacca. But to have trading, to make a trading hub, not only location, there are another thing that you can also create a trading hub, and that is called the critical mass. Why? Now, I just give you an example. Now, come to sea trade, Singapore does have some advantage, right? Everybody got to go through, and then Singapore is right there, so the ship needs some refilling, repair, financial aggregation, these segregation, dissemination kind of services. But when it comes to air traffic, Singapore is there's no strategic importance, there's no advantage. When it comes to air, you fly everywhere you want. But yet Singapore is still also top in terms of air hub, which is Changi, because of our Changi Airport. And the reason why, because we are successful in building a critical mass in Singapore to make Singapore an important air hub. Likewise for Dubai. Dubai also a very important and successful air hub. So, and also from here, you can know that the reason why we need to build T5 is to widen the critical mass or deepen the critical masses in this area for aviation, so that a lot of goods and services, or including human being traffic flow, will aggregate and segregate in this hub. So that's the reason why we have to ensure we have the critical mass. So if critical mass is equally important to location, then when we look at Hainan FTP, we cannot say that Hainan doesn't have any advantages. So what are the key thing about Hainan they can have? Okay, let's talk about aviation advantage. If you think that Hainan shipping advantage will never be more important than Singapore, later I'll show you some numbers as well. But again, if we don't talk about shipping lines, we talk about aviation. Now I show you another two chart that you can see that if the Chinese government implement the free trade port properly, which they have a long track record of successful cases, then Hainan itself will attract enough critical mass to make Hainan itself another significant business hub, whether is it for shipping or whether is it for other business activity due to the aviation. So let's look at the following two slides. Now, the first slide that I'm going to show you is, if you look at Hainan, if you take a flight from Hainan within 4 hours of radius of the flight, within 4 hours, north, south, east, west. Now, the whole area cover 21 countries. If you take an airplane from Hainan, 4 hours radius, you will cover 21 countries, and you will cover world population. 47 of world population can be reached by flying less than 4 hours from Hainan in all directions, north, south, east, west. How about the global GDP? The global GDP, Hainan by itself, if you fly 4 hours, you can reach 30% of the global GDP. So you look at Hainan, and everybody know the map of Southeast Asia and all this, and compared to Singapore, apparently on aviation activities, Hainan has a much better advantage than Singapore. Now, the next slide will also try to bring up the advantages of Hainan aviation, the strength of the Hainan aviation strength. The strength of Hainan central location in terms of aviation activities, or the business flow that can bring with aviation inflow and outflow. So if you look at the slide, if you fly 8 hours from Hainan, north, south, east, west, a radius of 8 hours, then the number of countries that you can reach actually are 59 of them. That's way ahead of Singapore. And world population, if you use Hainan as a central area, as a central aviation hub, you can reach 67% of the world population if you fly 8 hours. And how about global GDP? If you fly 8 hours, that will increase from 30% to 41%. So if you look at a hub, if you expand your mindset from sea trade to aviation trade, then which Singapore is equally strong in both. Singapore is strong in sea, strong in aviation with Changi Airport. There is nothing to stop Hainan from being a very successful aviation hub. Looking at the two slides that I show you, and also there's nothing to stop Hainan from being a very successful shipping hub if they have the critical mass. For example, if a lot of business factories have been set up in Hainan because of the free trade port, then logically the order size of Hainan and the demand of Hainan will form a critical mass by itself to make a lot of drawing power from the vessel to go directly to Hainan to unload or to reload their vessel. So once you have the critical mass, location is important but not the only factors. So if you have the critical mass, you can achieve what Singapore, you can achieve the same advantage of Singapore by locating, because of the fact that Singapore is located right at the end of the Strait of Malacca, where all the lot of sea trade will have to go through. So I hope that gives another perspective on the viability of the Hainan Free Trade Port, and I will go further after a short break, and I'll talk a lot more. Hello, hi. Let's continue our video. Sorry, it's a long one because I have a lot of thing to highlight. So bear with me. Now, so this we'll continue our video. Now, I think the most critical or important question people want to know is what would happen to Singapore after China implemented the world largest free trade port policy in Hainan Island, which is not far away from us, only about 3.5 hours flight from Singapore. So, what would happen to Singapore? My answer or my opinion is short term, there definitely will be some increased competition, but long term wise, it's a business opportunity for Singapore. Why? Very simple. Now, Singapore will flourish when there are trades. The thing that worried Singapore is when there's no trade. So if Chinese government is willing to open up a huge area, 46 times of Singapore, as a playground for everybody in the world to come here and set up factory, do business here, create activities here, it should be a good news to Singapore. It shouldn't be a bad news. Like, remember just 1 year ago when Donald Trump slapped tariff on everybody in the world, and at that time Singapore government is trying all out to cushion the negative impact. I was going through some job interview then, and I mentioned during my interview saying that no lah, this kind of tariff thing, it's not going to hurt Singapore at all because it's on a relative basis, because Donald Trump is doing it to everybody in the world. So after after the dust settle, it will go back to square one, because everybody experience certain level of tariff. So the impact will be square off, will be neutralized. Which I think I was right. You look at the latest economic figure that Singapore has. It was announced in the news that despite all the tariff, despite the negative worry that the tariff will bring, Singapore actually enjoy a stronger trade performances, and also for a lot of other countries, the global trade didn't slow down. So just like the Donald Trump tariff, the same thing will happen. Will the Hainan FTP affect Singapore? My answer is, or my view is, it should create more business opportunity for us. It should be a good news to us. Because why? Because Hainan FTP promote trade. Of course, I will talk later. I think after so many things happen in the world right now, there are something more important than trades. There are something more important than trades. So what Chinese government is trying to do for Hainan FTP, I think the port, P-O-R-T, give people a misleading guide that they are only aiming for shipping, business activity bring in by shipping flow. Not true. They are creating a hub. So I think something more important than trade that the Chinese government is going after is bases or are bases or hub or critical masses, which I mentioned before. Now, after a lot of countries experience all kind of uncertainty in international trade, closed door policy, a lot of look back, look inward kind of mentality for countries. I'm quite sure a lot of countries know the importance of critical mass. So it's very important to create a critical mass or a hub within your own country. So that means I don't care how the world operates, as far as there are enough business activity that going to come to my country and station in my country and become become a cycle. It is better than attracting trades, because when you want trade, you need a two party, one willing to sell, one willing to buy, then you have a trade. But if you have a critical mass, then the trade generating machine is more or less like internal combustion engine. It actually generate trade within a certain country. So the intention of Chinese government, from what I observed in my own view, is they set up Hainan FTP is to attract a lot of business from everywhere of the world to come to this part of the world, which will inevitably benefit all the surrounding country, including Singapore. So Singapore only worry when there's no trades. But if there are trades, Singapore will be very happy. So short term, there might be some uncertainty, some restructuring, relocation of business to Hainan or whatsoever. Some article will say that a certain shipment, instead of stop at Singapore, go straight to Hainan, which is understandable. But again, the impact on Singapore should be positive because, Chinese government is not going to stop you to involve in the Hainan Free Trade Port. You can come here, you can set up your industrial park here, like our Suzhou Industrial Park, which has been ranked top 10 or number 1 industrial park in whole China for 6 years consecutively. Right now, I think it's top 5. Sometimes it's number 2, sometimes number 3. So a lot of things Singapore can do in Hainan to be part of the Chinese government effort, and this is also fitting to Singapore by itself, since we are so good in running a port, so good in running aviation, and we are so good in services. So again, in short, the Hainan FTP will create some short-term uncertainty, short-term competition, but long-term wise, is going to be a wonderful thing for Singapore. So how wonderful it would be up to the Singapore government. Just like I believe Singapore government will plan long term. They know what to do. They will get someone to go Hainan and explore all this business opportunity. In Chinese they say 人无远忧必有近虑. If Singapore government doesn't plan long term, doesn't look forward, then there'll be a lot of trouble. So I don't think so. So they are China Hainan FTP. They are open for business. So please. I'm opening my door, I'm opening my country, I'm giving you a huge area for the 6 times of Singapore. You're welcome to do anything here as far as legally, according to my policy. So in short, I see Hainan FTP as a wonderful news for Singapore. This is something that Singapore government has been looking forward to. More trading activity, more business activity. This is where we can do very well. Now, another thing is to mitigate the fear about the surrounding country is also to zoom in on something black and white that the Hainan government or the Chinese government has listed now very clearly what they intend to do with this Hainan FTP. A lot of the view expressed online is, that's the end of Singapore. Some say, don't worry, Singapore should be fine. And then some worry about the canal in the narrowest part of Thailand, whereby that will channel all the shipping trade directly to Hainan rather than going through Singapore. So they say Hainan FTP is the first step. Later on, they will help Thailand to do the canal and then all the thing. So again, well, the fear is only logical. The viewpoint are all logical. But again, I think we can't see business activity only linked to sea trade. There are also aviation, there are also a lot of other things. So like what I mentioned, aggregation, critical mass will create a hub. And a hub will attract a lot of business activity. So you look at Shanghai Free Trade Zone, only the size of 4% of Singapore, yet the values of the import and export is 30% of Singapore. Now, so again, to mitigate all the fears faced by viewers, for those who think that Singapore might be in trouble, Vietnam will be in trouble, Malaysia, Philippines, all these like Johor, Johor, Singapore business industrial park, all these things, they'll be in trouble. Again, let's look at the key thing, the key point listed down by the Chinese government or the Hainan government in the objective of setting up the Hainan FTP. Now, they actually put down there their objective is 4-3-3. Now, let's take a look at the slide. Now, what does 4 stand for? 4 stand for Hainan FTP. They are only interested in 4 leading industry. What are the 4 industry? Tourism, modern services, high-tech industry, high efficiency agriculture. Now, all these 4, Singapore is not in direct competition with Singapore. So, and these are high value kind of manufacturing activity. Of course, it will be competitive. Singapore will face competition, but again, these are not a direct drawer or magnet to draw away business from Singapore. You can see that Chinese government or the Hainan government, they are very focused. They just want these 4 industry. Now, go deeper. In addition to the four industry, they want all the incoming business flow to be focusing on the next 3 subset of the industry. So they actually list down in black and white. If you look at the directive issue or the policy issue by the Hainan government, you can see that 433, the next 3 stand for, they want 3 industry. Number 1 is the seed industry. Number 2 is deep sea industry. Now, deep sea industry, I want to say something. Hainan province is the smallest province in China, the smallest, okay? But that is in terms of land area. But Hainan province is also the largest province in China. If you include the sea territory under management of Hainan province. So if you include the sea, then Hainan become the largest province in China. So that's the reason why, looking at the policy of the Hainan FTP, they put down there, one of the industry that they want people to set up business is to do with deep sea exploration, deep sea related kind of industry. And this is something that Singapore is not competing with, or Singapore does not have the niche. Now, the third one is aerospace. Singapore recently set up a space institution to go into the space business regarding space. So again, likewise, China is much more advanced or much more ahead than Singapore in terms of aerospace technology, and also the positioning of Hainan FTP is in very, very high-tech and niche industry. So from here you can see that Chinese government is not interested to steal some of your shipping business away from Singapore, steal some of the low-end manufacturing business from Vietnam. Vietnam, you can continue to produce shirts, slippers, all kind of household thing, grocery. Agriculture, maybe a little bit of pressure on Malaysia, on Indonesia, on Thailand, because Hainan is also one of the top rubber plantation player, but they have always been there, not because of FTP then they become strong, but Hainan is the 6th largest rubber plantation in the world, the 5th largest rubber export or output in the world. So they are already strong in some traditional agricultural area, but now they, like the 433, they want high-end kind of agricultural activity. So now come back to aerospace. So China is putting a lot of effort to develop aerospace industry, including the space satellite launching exploration business, which will bring a lot of growth to China. And if a lot of people, you all don't know, Hainan Island has Wenchang satellite launching platform, or the satellite center is located right in Hainan, and is the satellite launching platform nearest to the equator for China. So, and that launching platform already launched so many rocket and satellites. So they have long track record in doing all this, and they are right on the dot that they are pursuing further. Now, in this trip to Hainan, actually, when we were in Wenchang, on the way to a scenic place called the Dongjiao Yeling, it is a beautiful beach at the largest coconut plantation in the world. You will pass by the Wenchang Rocket Launching Center. You will pass by. Now, there are a lot of new factory, very advanced factory, I think about 15-story high, office building, a multi-story factory being already constructed and completed. I asked a taxi driver, he doesn't know what are they. He just said, oh, this is linked to the space exploration. But I dig deeper. I call up people in Beijing. I do my own research. No, it's not true. The whole industrial park next to the Wenchang Space Center are the manufacturing production line for satellite. Now, Chinese satellite always being produced in the lab. So scientists build a satellite. They'll take months or even years. So, for example, average they'll take 2 years to build a satellite or 6 months. But the whole area there, developed by Chinese government, they are making satellite production like a factory production line. According to the reports, they are able to churn out one satellite a week. So the customer can go there. I say, I want this satellite. I want all kind of design, the customization. The facility there in Wenchang is able to churn out satellite in weeks or even shorter than a week. So this is a determination, as you can see that even before they implemented the FTP, they are doing a lot of planning there already, and it's not only talk. Thing has been constructed. I've seen it with my own eyes that is almost operating. The landscaping is done, the building is all up, and there will be influx of high-tech personnel, influx of high-level kind of labor to occupy all the factory areas there to get ready for the satellite production. And if you look at some report, Chinese wanted to dominate the space industry to be the one that launched the most commercial satellite. So this is one area that they are focusing on, or part of the 433 strategy. Now, what happened to how about the last three? 433. So what is the last three? Now, if you look at the slide, the last three refer to high-end shopping, healthcare, and education. So you look at the whole deployment of the plan of Hainan FTP. It is not a direct competition to the surrounding country. Neither are they trying to focus on shipping activities or trying to steal business away from Singapore. No, you see the areas that they focus on, they got not much to do with a lot of shipping activities. A lot of this thing like seed industry, deep sea exploration, space technology, healthcare, education. This got nothing to do with shipping. This got something to do with human flow. Technology recognition of a more inflow of human, and come to human flow, Hainan has made visa free, 30 days visa free to 84 countries in the world. That means anyone from this 84 country can fly to Hainan without any visa for 30 days. And also, they recognize more than 100 qualification from all the university all over globally, so that if you have a certificate, you have a technology certificate in country A, country B, you're welcome to come to Hainan. They recognize it as well. So they already opened the door to accept all kind of talent to flow into China, to flow into Hainan. And this got nothing to do with shipping. So we should not narrowly focus that, they're going to steal business from Singapore, they're going to make Singapore miserable and all this. If you look at the policy stated clearly in their directive, the 433 strategy of Hainan FTP already tell the whole world, no, they are not going for low-level manufacturing activity. They're going for high-level manufacturing activity. They are going for high-tech. They are going for high-level human flows. Now, again, I think we are coming to the end of this video. I just want to give a few points to conclude this whole video. So, point number one. Will the Hainan FTP cause any negative impact on Singapore, or is it trying to steal away business from Singapore? The answer is short term, there will be some uncertainty, some competition, but long term, it's going to be a wonderful business opportunity for Singapore. And the key thing, the words port FTP actually restrict the mindset of many people. Think that it's only to do with sea related activity. The answer is no. I will show you all some the slide that Hainan government, Chinese government, they want something else more than trade, more than shipping business. So they are aiming for something higher. So that's number one. There will not be any long-term impact. Indeed, it should be a long-term wonderful business opportunity for Singapore. Just as Singapore government always say, Singapore can flourish when there are trades. When everybody close their door, Singapore will be in trouble. But now, China is opening up their door. They are throwing a big island for everybody to come and do whatever you want. So, in terms of impact on Singapore, the answer is no. No, if you remember, when we were all very young, so the family that has a TV, if they put the TV in the living hall, all the children, all the neighbors will gather around that place to watch TV. So likewise, China is doing the same thing. They are they're putting a big island, the second largest island that they have, on a global platform and opening up to everybody in the world. So they will try to capture or increase the business flow into this region, so that it will benefit everybody here, including Singapore. Just for example, right now Southeast Asia already attract 30% of the global container trade. So if Hainan FTP is successful, whether is it all kind of high-tech business, aviation kind of flow, human traffic and all these things, a lot of business will come here, and that will benefit all the neighboring country, especially when Chinese government and Hainan government have made it very clear that they are going only for the high-tech industry. Now, the second point I wanted to stress is a lot of people still focus on trade. What Chinese is going to do is to get more trades, trading activities and all these things. But yes, trade continue to be important. But after what happened globally, I think what Chinese government is more keen to create domestic critical bases. In Chinese, it's called Chinese mentality so far in the past has always been 共荣, meaning we prosper together. But now I think in addition to 共荣, they also want to do something called 内容. It's not 内容 is like in Chinese translation, it's like the content of a book article, the 内容 of a book. No, in this case, 内容 mean internal prosperity, meaning they want an internal critical masses to ensure that if anything happen, if there's any disruption to international trade, the local engine that we have internally will ensure Chinese government, China will continue to prosper, to move forward. There are enough activity for the local people to do. So it's called 内容, internal prosperity. So I think what they are trying to do is to do 共荣 plus 内容. So again, this will only be good for Singapore in the long term, not negative for Singapore. They are also concerned about the Thailand Canal. They dig a canal, then also bad for Singapore. No, I think generally, like I mentioned, the Hainan FTP already make it very clear they only want high-level business activity. Now, this time when I go to Hainan, I share something with you. I actually go and visit the government official. So they were very friendly. I mean, we go there and see them without any appointment, but they are not desperate. The first thing they ask me is, are you a big company or a small company? So I say I'm not even a company. I'm just a YouTube blogger or a retired Singapore Hainanese with banking background, and come here to try to understand more so that I can do a video on Hainan FTP. They were very friendly. They actually showed me to another place to say that there are enough literature, showrooms, there'll be staff answering my query. But to have a direct meeting with the official, I have to submit my company background and all these things. So from here you can see that they are not desperate. They are not prepared to. They are not in a hurry to accept all kind of business inflow. They want high tech value adding, those that match their 433 objective. So coming back to the Thai canal, were they after the Hainan FTP, then they go and dig a canal in Thailand? Again, if you think of that one, you are focusing on sea trade. But again, sea trade is not wrong. I'm not saying that critical mass is more important than trade, but sea trade is equally important. But if that is the concern, then with the global warming, China's shortest route to Europe and USA will be through the North Pole, not through this method, not through the Thailand Canal. And there are already successful cases whereby shipment has been going through the North Pole, which is much shorter. So again, I think, the concern is logical, but there are other considerations for the Chinese government instead of building the canal. So this is one. So again, I think that the Chinese government is more keen to develop critical masses. Now, then again, some people might think that, they wanted, this is going to be a very desperate move for them to throw the whole island out for people to make full use of it. No, I don't think so. If you look at the number of a special economic zone established in China. Of course, the Shanghai being the first, Shenzhen, Shantou, Xiamen. Then later on, you see Hainan. Now, if you pay some, if you I don't know whether you noticed, the last two special economic zone are actually set up in Xinjiang. So from this, you can see that China has more incentive. They are more willing to develop the vast western region of China and Central Asia to be another critical masses of China as the internal robust engine to keep China economy moving. That's the reason why they have the 南水北调工程, meaning they shift the water from Tibet all the way to Xinjiang. So again, China is not running out of option. The Shanghai, the Hainan FTP is just one of the many options, one of the many strategies to help the region, the region to attract more business activity. And Singapore flourish when there are more business activity that flow into this region. So for this, I think I will conclude my video, and I hope viewer can see for those facts and figure that I presented and form your own opinion. Whatever I say in the video, they are my own opinion, and I hope that that will give viewers another point of reference to consider. You can go there and visit yourself. You can review. All the numbers that I presented are all from Google. I actually download them from annual report and whatsoever. So you can do the same as well. So I hope you like my video, and hope that you can subscribe to my video, and I will produce more interesting video for your review or for your viewership. Thank you very much.